Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone, and Damian Lillard is back with the Portland Trailblazers. He signs a 3-year, $42 million contract with a player option and a no-trade clause. He said, yeah, that leaving Portland thing that I did, let's never have that happen again. I want to be here to retire. It seems like this is probably the contract that's going to take him through the end of his career, and it goes back where it all began, where he became a multi-time All-Star, a multi-time All-NBA guy who gave us some of the most iconic moments in recent NBA playoff history, 2 series winners. He ends up becoming a future Hall of Famer, an NBA 75 guy, one of the greatest scorers I've ever watched, one of the best guards of this generation. He did it all in Portland, and he ends up leaving for 2 years to Milwaukee. Doesn't really find much success. They lose round 1 last year with Giannis injured. This year, they lose round 1 with Damian Lillard being not in the lineup to start and ultimately tearing his Achilles in that first round matchup against the Pacers. And coming into this summer, there was some speculation about Dame's future with the team. Most of it was surrounding Giannis, but to try and keep Giannis, the Bucks waive and stretch Dame's contract, and suddenly everybody's like, where can he go to finish his career or at least play this next chapter? I always thought Boston made a lot of sense. He and Jason Tatum could both rehab from these season-ending Achilles injuries, come back next year, and be a dynamic duo that really bolsters the Boston Celtics and boosts them back up to being probably the best team in the Eastern Conference. I thought that maybe like a Houston could make sense if he wants to go back out west closer to his family, or Minnesota if he's willing to go ahead and move there. It felt like there were a lot of options for Dame if he wanted to play at the highest level and compete for a championship. And according to Shams, there were a number of NBA contenders that offered him mid-level exception and minimum deals to rehab with them and come back next season as a force. But he decided to just go back to Portland, and I love it. There are going to be the detractors, the people that say, oh, Dame's never going to win a ring now. He's not really serious about this, all that. Like, I'm sure ring culture is going to have some pushback on this move from Dame. But for me personally, I think it's great. I think it's an awesome storybook, full circle moment for one of the most loyal superstars of this era. He never really wanted to leave Portland. They just didn't do a good enough job of getting him supporting pieces. The amount of times where it's like, can someone please help Damian Lillard? Can they get him a real co-star? You know, he played alongside LaMarcus Aldridge, but after LaMarcus, he never played with an all-star level player again. CJ was like kind of there, but that's not the ideal fit next to Dame as another not great defender in the backcourt. As good as CJ is, he's had a great career, a great player. It never really felt like they found that piece to help Dame try and get over the hump. He leads them in franchise scoring. He leads them in three-pointers all time, has 7 55-plus point games. No one else in Blazer history has even one of those. He led them to the Western Conference Finals one season. Like, Dame did so much for this franchise and never got the support that was needed. And ultimately, it did seem when the breakup happened that it was the best move for both parties. Dame could go and try and play for a championship somewhere, whether it was Miami, where he did want to go, or even in Milwaukee, which, you know, he didn't really expect or want to go to, but now he gets to play with Giannis, who isn't just the best player he's ever played with. He's a bona fide top 3 player in the entire sport, an MVP, DPOY type of guy over the last few years. He had a great supporting cast next to him. It felt like Dame, Giannis, and that Bucks team was going to have the chance to really compete for a championship at a level that Damian Lillard himself had never had in Portland. And for the Blazers, they got to bring in Scoot Henderson immediately to potentially be the guard of the future. They still had Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe and could make all these moves to go further into this youth movement. It really felt like it made a lot of sense, but it didn't work. The grass isn't always greener on the other side for Portland. It's been very up and down, but I do really like the direction that they're going. And for Damian Lillard, again, it never really worked with the Bucks. We talked about the first round exits, how he and Giannis never really felt like they clicked as a duo, nowhere near to the level of where it felt like they should have ultimately been. And now, despite the fact that there were some real tensions between Dame, Joe Cronin, the overall front office of the Blazers, following the fact that they refused to send him to Miami where he wanted to be when he got that trade, it sounds like they met up, they kind of made amends and decided that they wanted to both seek a reunion. And here it is. Dame is going to be back with the Portland Trailblazers. And the question is, what is the meaning of this move beyond just the symbolic? Like, what does it mean for the basketball? And I don't know what Dame is going to look like coming back next season off an Achilles injury as a small guard who's going to be 36 at that point. Probably not going to be an All-NBA player ever again. I'd be shocked if he is. Maybe not shocked because Dame's that level of guy, but I think All-Star is very, very attainable. I mean, maybe he won't make the All-Star game because the West is super, super deep, but I think he could be that level of player, still a hyper-dynamic scorer, and someone who could ultimately boost up this team. I mean, right now, Portland is currently in the process of building out this elite defensive team. Like, they bring in Jrue Holiday, and they've got Tumuni Kamara and Donovan Clingan and Denny Avdia. Like, they've got defenders all over the place, Jeremy Grant, and Dame now can give them an offensive boost. Even if it isn't something massive, it is definitely going to help when he comes back. And at the very minimum, he can be a mentor to the young guards on this team, the young players in general. Scoot Henderson, you know, he was supposed to be Dame's replacement and now gets the chance to play with Damian Lillard. Or maybe there is a world where they're like, hey, this Scoot thing isn't really working. Like, he's not lived up to our expectations over the first couple of seasons. And maybe they picture eventually moving off of Scoot in favor of like a front court player, and they picture a backcourt next year of Damian Lillard and Jrue Holiday. I don't really know. It feels like it's too early to truly figure out what this all means going forward for the next 3 seasons, or I guess 2 years, because obviously Dame isn't going to play this year. But it does feel like there are going to be questions on the table going into next summer of what the guard rotation looks like. I mean, maybe Jrue Holiday is going to get flipped at some point. We did get a report that he wasn't the happiest about being in Portland. I don't know. There is a lot up in the air. And if the Blazers want to add another piece next to Dame and Jrue or whoever on this young core, if they want to, they can do that. Like, Jeremy Grant's contract is pretty sizable. They've got future draft capital. They've got interesting young pieces. The Blazers have put themselves immediately in one of the more interesting spots in this Western Conference, where it feels like already with the Jrue move, they were trying to go closer to competing now, to being a force in the Western Conference. I mean, they made that great run towards the end of last season, and adding Damian Lillard only furthers the fact that they clearly believe in that agenda, that direction. So maybe it means more youth is on the way out to try and bring in another star. People could become available in today's NBA. You never really know. It feels like anybody, almost anybody, could be available before a trade. If you know it or not, if there's a rumor or not, doesn't really matter. The Luka trade taught me one thing: I don't really know whatever to expect in the NBA when it comes to trades. And with this, I didn't expect this. I really thought Dame was going to go to like Boston. To me, felt like the most likely outcome, or that maybe he would just wait until next summer to make a decision, but instead he just goes back home. And again, I know some people aren't going to be happy about this, saying, I want to see Dame win a ring and this and that, but he's also, in a lot of media interviews, talked about how he really wants to be close to his family, how that's super important to him, how he's a guy that really, part of the reason he struggled in Milwaukee was because he missed his family and he felt so uprooted. It was a hard time adjusting. He's going to get to be a lot more comfortable in the place where he played his entire career before the last couple of seasons. And it's also funny to think about, you know, looking back now in like 20 years, there are going to be NBA fans that are like, what do you mean Damian Lillard played 2 years in Milwaukee and wasn't a Portland Trailblazers lifer? Because with the minimal playoff success of the Dame Bucks era, it's kind of, I think, going to get washed away. And there will be people in the future who are like, yeah, Dame would just play with the Blazers his whole career, and they're going to see Dame in a Bucks jersey, and it's going to hit him like a flashbang. So those are my thoughts on this. I absolutely love it. I think it's a great move for Portland right now. It gives them a really feel-good story, something that they can lean on going into next season, even if they don't take this big jump in the West like they want to. And then the season following, there's something to be really, really excited about with Dame making his comeback, where it all started, this young core growing. I've really liked Portland's direction. I think this is a good move. We'll have to see what it means for Scoot, the rest of the young players on that roster, how much they're actually going to commit to trying to win in the last couple years of Dame's career. But maybe this is the chance where they're really like, hey, Dame, we owe it to you. We're going to go for it. We'll have to wait and see. But for right now, those are my thoughts. Let me know down below what you think about the Damian Lillard return. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And yeah, appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all later. Real One Say back.